Welcome to This Horror Real.
Someone was breathing behind my door. Someone was breathing behind my bedroom door after midnight, and I was lying in bed alone with my phone on 2%. I didn't move at first. I just stared at the door gap. The hallway light was off, but there was enough glow from my charger block to see the light under the door. That light kept breaking, like something was standing close enough to block it. Then the floor creaked, not downstairs, not outside, right outside my room. I held my breath, hoping whoever it was would think I was asleep. That's when the doorknob turned halfway and stopped. I lived alone in a small one-story rental house at the end of a quiet street. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, kitchen in the back, and a hallway that carried every sound straight to my room. That night I had locked both doors. I knew I did because I checked them twice before bed. The front door had a deadbolt. The screen and porch had a cheap glass door that didn't lock. The back door had a chain and a chair pushed under the handle because the lock stuck sometimes. So when I heard somebody inside, my mind kept trying to fix it. Maybe the house settled. Maybe it was the fridge. Maybe it was a branch hitting the window. Then the doorknob turned again, slower this time. I reached for my phone, but the screen barely lit up. 2%, no missed calls, no alerts, no motion camera notification. That made it worse because I had a cheap doorbell camera facing the porch. If someone came through the front, it should have caught them. I opened the camera app, my thumb shaking. The front porch was empty, the street was empty, but the camera feed showed my porch door slightly open, not wide, just enough to show black space. My bedroom door was still closed, and something was still standing outside it. The breathing stopped. Then I heard my kitchen cabinet open. One soft pull, one pause, then another cabinet. Whoever or whatever was inside wasn't rushing. They were moving like they had time. I slid out of bed and stepped backward toward my closet. The carpet kept my feet quiet, but my breathing sounded too loud in my own ears. From the hallway, I heard something scrape across the counter. Then the sink turned on. Just a quick burst. Off. Silence. Then 3 slow knocks came from inside the hallway wall. Not on my door. Inside the wall. Beside it, like somebody was testing where I was. I grabbed the metal baseball bat I kept behind my dresser. I didn't want to use it. I just needed something in my hands. My phone dropped to 1%. I typed 911 but didn't hit call yet because my thumb froze over the button. Then a voice outside my bedroom door whispered my first name. Not loud, not angry, just close. Close enough that I could hear spit in the word. I never told neighbors my name. I didn't have friends over often. No one should have been inside my house saying my name like they knew me. Then the voice whispered it again, this time from lower down, like they were crouched at the door gap. I forced myself to call 911. The call connected, but the phone immediately flashed low battery. I whispered my address as fast as I could. The dispatcher asked if I was safe. Before I could answer, the figure outside my door knocked once, right where my head would have been if I were standing behind it. I stopped talking. The dispatcher kept asking me questions, but I could barely hear her because my mind was wandering and concentrating on who or what was on the other side of my bedroom door. Then my phone died. The screen went black in my hand. The house felt bigger after that. The bedroom door moved inward a fraction. The lock held, but barely. I backed into the closet, pulled the door almost closed, and left a tiny crack to see through. My room was dark except for the street light leaking through the blinds. The bedroom doorknob turned again, then stopped. Then something slid under the door. At first I thought it was paper, but when it came farther in, I saw it was a house key, my house key. It slid across the floor and stopped beside my bed like somebody was returning it. That was the moment I understood this wasn't random. The bedroom door unlocked from the outside. I heard the click. My body went cold. I had locked that door before bed. It was one of those cheap interior locks with a little pinhole, but still they opened it like they already knew how. The door pushed open slowly. A figure stood in the hallway. Not tall, not monstrous. Just a figure in dark clothes, face hidden by the shadow from the hall. They didn't step in at first. They just looked around my room, at the bed, at my shoes, at the small frame photo of me on the nightstand. Then they said, "You always sleep on that side." I almost made a sound, but I bit the inside of my cheek. The dark figure walked into my room and stopped beside my bed. They leaned down and touched the blanket, like checking if I had been there. Then they turned toward the closet. I knew they couldn't see me clearly, but they knew enough. They took one step closer. The floor creaked under them. Same creak I heard every morning when I got dressed. They had been in my house before. That thought hit harder than seeing them. This wasn't someone breaking in for the first time. This was someone returning. They reached for the closet handle. I swung the bat before the door fully opened. It hit their arm or shoulder. I heard the impact and a low grunt. They stumbled back into my dresser, knocking over a lamp. I ran, not toward the front door, toward the back, because the front door was already open and I didn't know who else was there. The hallway felt too narrow. My shoulder hit the wall. Behind me, they were moving again. I reached the kitchen and saw the chair under the back door handle had been moved neatly to the side. The chain was undone. I yanked the door open and ran barefoot into the yard. I didn't stop until I reached my neighbor's porch. I pounded on the door so hard my hand hurt. An older man answered, confused and half asleep, but when he saw my face and the bat in my hand, he pulled me inside. Police got there a few minutes later. They searched my house. No one was inside. The front door was open. The back door was open. My bedroom door was open. The key was still on the floor beside my bed, but nothing was stolen. Not my TV, not my wallet, not the laptop on the kitchen table. Only one thing was missing, the small frame photo of me from my nightstand. The police said it was probably someone who found a spare key or copied one. They told me to change the locks, check the windows, stay somewhere else for a few nights. I did all of that. But 2 days later, the officer called and said something that made my stomach drop. My doorbell camera stopped recording at 10:58 p.m. that night. Not because the power went out, not because the Wi-Fi dropped. Someone had covered the lens from inside the porch. The last frame showed me closing the front door, and the reflection from the porch glass door showed a dark figure already standing behind me inside my house as I closed and locked the door. If this story made your stomach drop, subscribe to This Horror Real for more grounded horror stories that feel way too possible to ignore. Because the scariest part isn't what you saw, it's realizing how easily it could happen to you. One strange sound in the hallway, one unlocked door, one person standing somewhere they shouldn't be. Most people think they'd react immediately, but real fear doesn't work like that. Real fear makes you freeze, second guess yourself, and hope you're wrong until it's already too late. That's what these stories are built around, the moments that feel normal right before everything turns dangerous. Subscribe now for more horror stories that feel uncomfortably real long after the video ends.